What's happening, Nerd Squad, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. We are back today with another part 3. Super soldiers are seeming to be more and more common throughout the MCU now, but just how many are there? How many are there in comics? Well, the answer is a lot. So here to break down 10 more of those guys for you, I'm Taylor McWatters, and here are the top 10 most powerful super soldiers, part 3. Let's do it. Kicking off the list at number 10, Hawkeye. Now, this is Hawkeye from the Ultimates when he first appeared in Ultimates issue 7. This is when the Avengers confronted the new Ultimates and it ended up in this massive underground battle in New York. Now, Hawkeye got stuck under a car when Giant Man squished it. Now, he wasn't a super soldier at this point, so this probably didn't feel too good on the bones. The Avengers were then put on the USS Jimmy Carter. Now, this is when things start to get interesting. While they were there, Hawkeye and the others ingested Cash's serum, becoming super soldiers for a hot minute. Then they were able to rescue Nick Fury, but eventually they were captured by Gregory Stark and tossed overboard. So he was a super soldier for a brief amount of time. I feel like Jeremy Renner is a super soldier in real life. I don't know, I get that vibe. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be awesome. It really does help our channel out quite a bit here. You're the best. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's get right back to this part 3. Number 9, Red Guardian. Okay, this next one we're still waiting to see on the big screen. David Harbour is playing Alexei Shostakov in Black Widow, and in the comics, he's currently Ronin as of 2010. But in Avengers issue 43, Alexei was first introduced to readers, of course, as Red Guardian. He was one of the best pilots in the Soviet Union, and he married the famous ballerina Natalia Romanova. Now, the KGB made new plans for Alexei when he was on his way to a flight mission. He was then told that he could no longer speak to anybody he knows, friends, families, and new love, Natalia. She was actually told that he died in an explosion during a test flight. Now, Natalia wanted to do something worthwhile with her life afterwards, so she became the Black Widow spy. And they kind of were hoping on this. The KGB wanted this to happen. So Alexei, of course, would go on to become the Red Guardian, the Soviet Union's version of Captain America, and over the course of his training, he became cold, ruthless, and cruel, much different than before. He appeared in Ultimate Nightmare issue 4 as a super soldier, but he was taken out the next issue. Number 8, NUKE. He made his first appearance in Daredevil 232. Meet Frank Simpson. He was a Black Ops agent in Vietnam War, and he's got an American flag for a face. He's pretty insane. He's ruthless. Every page, he's literally just screaming and attacking people. See, Wolverine actually tortured him and gave him a trigger phrase as well. That trigger phrase was no VC. That was his version of freight car vlogging and Homecoming. A little bit shorter. I feel like Zemo would have had a much easier time with this one. So when someone says no VC, Frank goes crazy when he's not supposed to go crazy. All thanks to Logan. Awesome. Yeah, Wolverine made Frank undergo the Weapon Plus program, even giving the super soldier some cybernetic parts as well. And hey, if sheer force doesn't get the job done, Frank can always rely on his trusty Betsy. Betsy is the huge submachine gun that he carries around. I'm kind of glad we didn't see this super soldier in the MCU. He seems like a bit much. Number 7, Iron Maiden. Now for this one, I'm not referring to Melinda Vostokov's Iron Maiden, but I'm talking about the USSR version of Iron Maiden, because it feels like we're on that track. This is a part 3 after all. You can find her in The Order, volume 2, issue 1. Now the Iron Maiden was part of the 1960 Soviet super soldier group that was placed into cryogenic sleep. Now she was there chilling, pun intended, until there was a nuclear attack on American soil. So after an explosion went off because of the Infernal Man on the West Coast, she then woke up along with the other super soldiers, but of course she didn't last too long as they were defeated by the Order. Just the costume alone, I had to include her. She's so sick. Number 6, Abomination. Emil Blonsky, aka Abomination, made his first appearance in Tales to Astonish issue 90. Now he was a communist Croatian Yugoslavian spy that infiltrated the US Air Force base in New Mexico where Banner and General Ross were. Now in the MCU, we see him make quite a mess. Abomination is a pretty cool villain. We haven't seen him since, but I'm kind of hoping he comes back soon. See, Ross was hell-bent on recreating the Super Soldier Serum that Erskine took to the grave, and this soldier was the test subject to that new variant. Whenever you hear the word variant and test subject, I'm like, I've heard the word variant too much in the news lately. I can't even do it. So the serum mixed with Banner's blood turned him into, well, an abomination. I'm still waiting for him to come back into the current MCU, but I think they're waiting for some Thunderbolts action to happen with General Ross. I feel like that's going to be a big one for the She-Hulk show, for sure. Number 5, Nick Fury. Of course we have to mention Nick Fury. Of course. He entered the Ultimates and Marvel Team Up issue 5, and Nick Fury would soon take over as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And his first plan was to bring back the Super Soldier program, which actually resulted in the creation of the Ultimates. Ultimates. Fun fact. His origins are pretty wild as well. He fought for the US in World War II and was taken by force to be the next test subject for Project Rebirth. So when he was injected with his new serum, it gave him, of course, super strength, and then in turn he freed himself and other prisoners, and they just got out of there. So now he's got quite the power behind those punches. He's disease resistant and he's got enhanced senses. Just a super Nick Fury. I mean, that's pretty much Samuel L. Jackson. I feel like Samuel L. Jackson's a super soldier in real life. That would check out. He doesn't really age. Number 4, the Hulk. First appearing in Ultimate Marvel Team Up Issue 2, Ultimate Hulk is wild. Dare I say, more intense than our other guy. So back in the day, Banner wanted to be just like Captain America. Back in his science days, he wanted to be big and strong. He actually told his mentor, Dr. Leonard Williams, this. And then since his student days at Cambridge University, he was committed to duplicating the Super Soldier Serum in hopes that he can use it on himself. So when Nick Fury, the first super soldier that I mentioned, gathered the best genetic engineers to recreate the serum, Bruce was amongst them. Now, Bruce actually thought that he figured out the serum at first. He just didn't tell the group because he didn't want them getting credit for his work. That happens quite often in group projects in high school, so it's fair. These people exist, they're still out there. He wanted proper credit, so he just went ahead and tested the Super Soldier Serum out on himself and became Ultimate Hulk. Now down the road, and this is what makes Ultimate Hulk stand out, later on, Bruce decided to make more serum. So he mixed Super Soldier Serum with the Hulk Serum and then injected himself, and then he became this gray, monstrous Hulk. And his first plan of attack was to go after Freddie Prinze Jr. Nope, not kidding. Number 3, Masterman. Wilhelm Lohmer. This guy is, okay, let's talk about him. He was chosen for the German version of the Super Soldier Serum. It's a little obvious looking at him what kind of super soldier he is. He made his first appearance in Giant Size Invaders, issue 1. Now he's pretty similar to Captain America in the sense of his abilities. He met Captain America for the first time in Wakanda when he and the Red Skull invasion force was trying to get their hands on vibranium for the Germans. Now luckily Black Panther took him down and stopped him, but he was still able to survive. It wasn't until Cable issue 51 until Masterman met his fate. Yeah, I don't think we need that guy running around in the MCU or in any comic book for that instance. Let's keep him out of there. Number 2, Warrior Woman. Julia Koenig made her first appearance in Invaders issue 16. She was a spy during World War II, and then she captured and hypnotized an American, William White, and he just happened to have secrets to the super soldier formula, and she got them out. Now, despite multiple warnings on not creating a do-it-yourself serum, she still went ahead and tried it out. So while this was happening, an explosion went off, and then Julia was also turned into a super soldier, just this big, loud event. Now, her first mission was to help the Red Skull and head to Wakanda, that same trip that I mentioned earlier. Now, she was actually set to marry Masterman. What a nightmare that would have been. Because she was really impressing everybody, and then he was impressing everybody, so they're like, hey, you guys should both just get together, because you're both insane. Now, part of the ceremony just had to include the assassination of the invaders, because, you know, that's what weddings do. Instead of putting on show, it's like, yeah, let's take some people out. But luckily, the final vows were never spoken as the reserve members of the invaders came in to save the day. That would have been the worst wedding ever. After the war, Julia was put into cryogenic suspension, and she wasn't recovered until after the German reunification. The long freeze actually gave Warrior Woman some brain damage as well, which complicated her recovery. And finally, number 1, NICO. Perhaps one of the most shocking scenes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier has to be when NICO bites the bullet. It's brutal. This happens at the end of episode 4, right when John Walker, US agent, goes crazy, and he ends his life in a public execution way. It's not good at all. It was a huge moment for fans while we were watching, and to make it worse, NICO was a super soldier and a member of the Flag Smashers. Now, the thing that makes NICO stand out and why we have to talk about him a little bit more, he was a huge Captain America fan growing up. One of the OG super soldiers, he looked up to him. And then after the blip, NICO joined Carly Morgenthau's cause and helped her steal some supplies. Now, he wasn't the worst super soldier ever by any means. I mean, clearly after seeing this list, you would agree. But I'm betting he never expected Cap's shield to be the weapon that ended his life. Well, guys, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. Thanks so much for joining us on Top 10 Nerd. Please leave us a comment down below if there's any future lists you'd like to see, or if there's any super soldiers that we forgot on this list. Comment down below and we'll be sure to get around to them. You guys are the best. Have an amazing week and we'll see you next time. Peace.